Welcome to the Podcast Perplexium. Here we discuss all things, the usual and the unusual, the intriguing, the perplexing, and the fun, with ordinary and extraordinary people alike. Come with me now as we dive deep. Let the Podcast Perplexium begin. And we are live. Isla, welcome to the Podcast Perplexium.
Thank you.
Yeah, my fifth guest.
I feel honored.
Welcome. So, right off the bat, if you had to go with one, Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle, which one would you pick?
I feel like I would pick Squirtle.
Okay, why?
I feel like he just resonates in my soul a little more than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel odd like that. Like
cool.
all the time, you know what I mean?
Very cool.
Yeah.
You're a water type.
Yeah, I am a Scorpio, so
Makes sense.
we get along.
Very good. So how did we meet?
We met at my job. I work at a kombucha brewery, Tap Shack, and you wanted a coffee, and I was like, we got these good coffees, and now you're hooked, so
I am.
that's cool.
I do love Tap Shack. The first Tap Shack, I think, over in OB.
Oh, but yeah, we're still there.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
you've been there?
I used to work there before. I worked at the one in downtown.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I used to drive by Tap Shack in OB all the time, and I always thought that it looked cool, but
Yeah.
I never stopped by. I never went in.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks because we don't have parking at that one, but you know, I'm glad we have a downtown one, because now I feel like that was like a lot of people's vibe. They're like, oh, you know, it's just like always on the drive-in, but now people like walk everywhere down here, so they're like, oh, and it's where we brew everything, so goes right from like 5 feet, freshest ingredients type vibe.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so happy it's here. It's walking distance from this place.
Yeah.
And do you remember what was there before Tap Shack?
I know it was a printing company before we got there, and then it was another coffee shop before the printing company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the coffee shop's name, but I know they're in North Park now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why the printing company left, but they did.
Mm-hmm. For the listeners, the spot that we're talking about right now is the intersection of, I think it's 14th and J.
13th and J.
13th and J,
Yeah.
downtown San Diego, East Village. Yeah, so there was I remember even before that, there was another coffee shop, and I used to go there, but I think Tap Shack is a lot better.
We're a little elite.
Yeah.
I don't mean to brag, but I used to work at a coffee shop before I worked for Tap Shack, and I would literally leave my job to go get coffee at Tap Shack. So, you know, when you just get at one thing, you're just good at it. Like,
What's your go-to coffee drink?
fun fact, I can't drink coffee anymore because I have a stomach ulcer, and I blame coffee for that. But when I used to drink coffee, it was always just like a shot over ice with like a splash of oat milk. Now I'm just like chai tea lattes all day.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think tea's honestly the way to go.
No,
I think
tea
it's
is the way to go. That's
Yeah.
why I love working at a kombucha brewery, because it's like fermented tea. And it's really good for you.
Yeah, I say that as I drink my
Your
cold brew.
large
Yeah.
caffeinated drink.
I'm an addict. Yeah.
That's
but-
okay. Caffeine is totally socially acceptable to be addicted to.
Mm-hmm. So you're an artist.
Yeah, I am.
So tell me about your art. How would you describe your
So I went to an art academy for 4 years for photography. I specialized in like conceptual, like abstract studio work. I did a lot of like super deep, dark photos. Was a very minimal Photoshop. I tried to like keep it as raw as I could. I did that for a really long time. I kind of killed it for myself. I just like lost my passion for it and picked up writing. And now I have a degree in that. And I had a book that came out last year. I sold out of it. And now I have a new book coming out this year.
Oh, wow. So you're also a writer.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have 2 books.
One book.
One book's out.
One's coming, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, tell me about those.
Okay, well, my first book, it was like a collection of poems I had kind of been like writing from like 18 to like 20.
Mm-hmm.
I like never really thought I could come out with a book ever in my lifetime. I kind of was like, oh, that's something that you do when you're like 50 and like have all this money and blah blah. But my mentors in college were super helpful. They were like, no, dude, like let's just send this. And I was like, all right. So I created the book. I did all the art in it. I ended up having a really good friend of mine. His writer name's Alprentice. He edited it for me. I really love him. And yeah, it was called The Space Between Time and Love, and it was in different sections. I talked about love, I talked about heartbreak, I talked about what it's like coming from like broken families, broken homes. I talked about what's like, leaving religion, if you were like a religious kid. Yeah, it was like a whole gnarly book, and people really liked it. It was a poetry book.
Wow.
Yeah, and it did really well. I was not expecting it to, because I was just like, I really have no social media following. But I went to like a coffee shop to launch the book, and I like completely sold out of it that day.
Wow.
Yeah, I sold 50 copies physically, and then I think I sold like another 60 online.
And it's all poetry.
It's all poetry.
So like each page is
a new poem.
This is something that I totally would love to.
Yeah, I can get you one for sure.
Definitely. Cool.
Yeah, but so now I'm coming out with a new book. Fun fact, it's going to be called 222. After, obviously, this year is 2022. I'm very big on, like, spirituality, and 222 is, in numerology, it's like the universe sending you a message that everything's going to be okay. I feel like this year, everyone has kind of needed that, like, the reassurance that, like, we just came out of a pandemic, like, who knows who you've lost or what you lost or anything like that. So I feel like this is the year for us to, like, grow now from it. I've definitely had a lot of things happen to me just this year. Like, it's only July. So I'm basically wanting to, like, I want this book to be almost like a safe space for people's emotions, because I feel like I want this book to like tell people like it's okay now, like we can breathe and we can grow type vibe. So that's like what I'm trying to get out this year. Then we'll come out in like probably late November, early December.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So overall, would you say that you're an optimist for the future?
Funny enough, I'm not. I don't believe in the future at all. I think, I have a very strong belief that tomorrow, as bad as it is very cliche, tomorrow is never promised. Like, the world can end at any second, you can die at any second, like, your loved ones can be there one day and, like, completely gone the next minute. I'm so tired of like living my life for like me when I'm 50 or me when I'm 60, because like that is definitely not promised. I'm a very for now, here now person. It's very controversial because people are like, you're just young and reckless, and like what you're gonna be 65 with like no money, and it's like that might be the case, but I'll be very happy even if I make it that far.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think living in the present is an art, and I think a lot of people miss out on
living.
Yeah. On enjoying today.
Yeah.
Like right now.
No, nobody does it anymore. Like, it's very few you find people that are, like, actually content with their lives right now. Like, if you ask people, like, if they love their life, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to school so I could be, like, a doctor and, like, make lots of money and, like, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, but that's not answering my question. Like, what's making you happy now? Like, nothing. You're just happy because you could be happy in like 10 years. That's like, I can't live like that. That just doesn't sound fun. That doesn't sound like living.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Was 2020 for a lot of people, 2020 was like the worst year of their lives.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way as well?
Honestly, 2019 was the worst year of my life, hands down.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, hands down.
Do you want...
Yeah, I can elaborate.
Yeah.
So in 2019, I had just graduated high school. Fun fact. So right before our pandemic, thank the world. I had lost all my friends. I had gotten denied from the military, every single branch. I had, I was gonna go to university. My family didn't have the money for that. I had relapsed in my drug problems, and I got kicked out. So it was like double whammy on double whammy. And then my bestest friend in the whole world got into a motorcycle accident, like all within 2019. Like before, I think by the summer's end, that it all happened to me. So it was really, really hard. Thankfully, by the end of that year, I had found amazing resources, got a job, like had to put my own life back together. Because I became emancipated when I was 16. So I've been legally an adult for a really, really long time. So the end of 2019 was me pulling myself back together, and thankfully 2020's pandemic lockdown was like heaven sent, because I was working more. I wasn't going out and partying. I was able to like stay home and like grasp my sense and like what I wanted to do with my life and like how I was like gonna grieve. You know, it was a very calm year for me, even though the world was like freaking out. I was so happy to just like be in my house and like be at work, like making people happy and like being able to process my grief on like my own without the world like looking at me in a sense, because no one cared about anybody else during that time. They just were like, I don't want to die, COVID. So I was fine. I loved it. I wish I could go back to the lockdown. My introverted self was like A1 plus moment.
I love it.
Yeah. 2020 was amazing.
Yeah. I'm an introvert as well.
Yeah.
And so I share similar sentiments.
Yeah.
2019, it's interesting that you say 2019 was so rough. I mean, the timing for you, just coming out of high school and everything that that was going, I mean, that was very unique to you. But I definitely felt in 2019 that people and the world in general, society, was just moving way too fast.
Way too fast.
Yeah, and people were just going from A to B to C to D.
Without thinking.
Yeah, just exactly, seemingly like mindless.
Yeah.
And I was chanting, "We gotta slow down." I was saying that. That was my song for a while.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that it was necessary. It was like God sent. So I also share that outlook on 2020.
So you manifested the pandemic.
I felt
No. I think everyone needed it. Like everyone needed the break, I feel like especially in San Diego, more than anything, people are constantly on the move here, and they're constantly distracting themselves with work and life and like all these different hobbies and social media, that people forget who they are, like alone with their thoughts. You know what I mean? Like people, we're not sitting and processing anything anymore. Like we're just fucking running. Like no one knows how to cry anymore. So I feel like 2020 forced a lot of people to like actually sit down and grieve their own lives, you know what I mean? Even if you didn't lose somebody, it really forced you to like grieve like your life. Like, and that's why a lot of people changed their whole lives during the pandemic, because they're like, oh shit, like this sucks. Why am I doing this? You know what I mean? I loved the pandemic. I mean, obviously the death and like COVID and all that, that was really rough. rest in peace, everyone. But,
yeah, but on a personal
level,
like looking out of your eyes,
yeah,
living in your shoes, yeah.
Yeah, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I just love lockdown. I know it's so bad to say it, but the only thing I really hated about lockdown, and I know there's nothing you can change about it, is I feel like we, as a human race, produced a lot of waste during the beginning of the pandemic because everything was to go.
Yeah.
Everyone was just buying a bunch of shit off the shelves, in fear the world was gonna end. And obviously we had to throw all that away. So now I feel bad. I feel like even though the pandemic was good for us, I feel like it might have messed up the world a little bit. Because we were just constantly buying shit and throwing shit away.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, just think about all the to-go things that have transferred, that people made so they could stay open. I mean, I get it, and you have to respect it because everyone's trying to make a living and stay alive, but anywhere you go, you had 20 bajillion to-go things wrapped and everything because no one could touch anything. Mm-hmm. So it produced a lot of waste. 2020. We were a wasteful little society for a year, and I feel like we were kind of just getting a little more eco-conscious in 2019, and now I feel like we all have to start over.
See, I need to be more like you. Are you an upcycler or?
Very much. Yeah. I had in high school I had a very not crazy, let me rephrase this. I had a very educated biology and chemistry teacher, and they used to make us literally count how much trash we were using a day. They used to teach us a bunch of things, where our trash went, what happens to the earth when we put it in there, all these fun things, and it really made me a more conscientious person of how much waste I produce a day and how much waste the world produces a day is gnarly. It's gnarly time.
I gotta be more like you. I'm working on it.
I would recommend, it sounds kind of gross, but what taught me to do it is if you grab a trash bag and kind of carry it around with you all day for 2 weeks, and you'll kind of see how much trash you just produce daily. If you don't throw your coffee, coffee cup away at a coffee shop, or you go out to eat and take it to go, you put it in that trash bag and things that.
Here's an easy one I could do. I could keep one in my car. And then all the times that I do get coffee, and I must admit I do get coffee a lot.
You could start switching to a jar. You want me to get you a mason jar? I'll bring you a mason jar with the lid.
I would love a couple of those.
Yeah, I can do that.
And so when you go to your favorite
coffee shops,
you just bring yours and say, "Hey, can you use mine instead?"
And if they say no, I won't ever go to that coffee shop again.
Oh wow!
I'm not lying. I understand because of COVID, everyone's more conscientious of germs, but I worked at coffee shops almost my whole life. There is a way you can keep the cup away from the bar, away from all the utensils, and still pour their drink item into their cup. You don't have to touch their cup on all these things. So if a coffee shop will not accommodate to that, it's a big red flag for me. Why would I want to give my money to people who don't really care about what's going on planet Earth? That isn't big red flag.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good tester to see if the company policies are in check. Start bringing your own shit, see what people do.
I like it.
Fun fact.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna start doing it.
Yeah,
and that's cool looking too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's
it's retro.
It's got the vibe, yeah.
It's antique or
people are oh, look at her and her mason jar with whatever she's drinking, Then people ask you what you're drinking, you guys start conversation, you make friends.
Yeah.
All because you wanted to use less plastic.
Do you know about the James Webb Telescope?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Okay, it's a trending thing right now.
Okay.
It's this brand new super high resolution telescope that NASA, I think, made.
I think I do know what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, there's been images floating around Instagram of just really beautiful outer space images that have specks where every speck is a galaxy.
Yeah. I heard about this. I learned about it in I don't remember what I learned about it in. We were talking about it in one of my classes not too long ago. People are freaking out right now.
Yeah.
I feel like people didn't understand that the universe didn't revolve around them. So now that they're understanding, there's so many different jumps, almost possibilities. I think it's scaring people. I've always believed in that though. I'm super big on parallel dimensions and everything. I think there's one of us doing something in every single universe, in every single dimension. It's just slightly fucking different. I love it.
So when you say parallel universe, do you mean the multiverse?
Kind of, yeah.
There's multiple...
kind of like split theory.
What's that?
Okay, to dumb it down, I think, this is a way someone described it to me. So there's a bunch of different, universes or dimensions, right? I don't know if you've ever had this, but if you've ever had, a near-death experience in your life, right? What if you actually did die?
Uh-huh.
And then right now you're just in another split of what would happen if you lived. Does that make sense? The one version of you really did die.
Uh-huh.
You're dead in that universe, in that split. But you're in a different split right now where it was a near death because you didn't die in this one, but you really died in the other one. Just think about little things like this. For me, I like to think, I don't know, if my dad was rich, right? I would have been able to go to college. I probably would not be living in California. I would already have a degree by now. I would never have gotten emancipated at 16. I wonder what me in the other universe, just that one little decision of if my dad had stayed in New York Times and made it big, that girl, she's living life right now. But then there's probably another girl who lost both of her parents super, super younger than I did. So she's probably not living life, but I'm big on it. I have a lot of theories about it.
Well, but then maybe you might not have all the wisdom and spiritual depth and profundity the way that you're speaking now.
No, there's probably a lot of versions of me that
It's interesting to think about that.
No, it's a trip for sure, but I think about it a lot. I feel a lot of different cultures and belief systems before Christianity came into play had a lot to do with different there was gods and goddesses. There was talks about different universes or a spiritual plane beyond our eyes can see, you know what I mean? And I'm Native American, and we have a I can't speak for every indigenous culture, but for my tribe, there's a big belief in dreams, at least being access to another realm. You know what I mean?
I love this topic.
Your subconscious is way more awake than your consciousness, but today, the society we live in and this religious belief in one God has, I think, dumbed us down drastically.
Okay, we're hitting all the topics that are my favorite. We're hitting every note.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about dreams.
Okay.
I've been dreaming a lot.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah.
I've been having dreams seemingly every night.
Okay.
For months, and I have friends that are telling me that there's something going on in the cosmos that's and a lot of people are reporting this too. Have you heard anything is this all
This is all new news to me.
Okay, so maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just me and the 3 friends that I've discussed this with.
Okay.
But yeah, so do you think that dreams are at all predicting future events that may come?
Yeah. I mean, I think dreams can be a lot of things. I think they can either, one, be glimpses into the different dimensions or universes we're not living in. Like right now, this body, this consciousness is not in. I think it could be a look into like a different, something we don't understand, right? I also believe they are very future like predicting, because I like my whole life. Well, let me take it back a couple generations. My great grandma was a very spiritual woman in our tribe. I don't know too much about her. I didn't really get to ask. A lot of things have been died down from colonization, but she used to tell my grandma that when she gets older, she's gonna have these dreams and they're gonna come real. My grandma didn't believe in her, whatever. My grandma had them. She started having these dreams that started coming real. She told my aunt, she was like, listen, when you get this age, you're gonna have these dreams. They might come real. My aunt was like, you're literally insane. That's like when we had moved to America, and like, you know, it was like the 50s or whatever, and my aunt was like, what the fuck ever, I'm not gonna believe in that. Then my aunt didn't have any kids of her own, and it's only daughters in my family also. So then my dad, I'm the youngest of two, so I have an older sister. My dad had my sister Amanda, and she started having weird dreams, and then she told my grandma about it, and my grandma was like, this happens to us. And then when I was young, my grandma told me, because my dad ended up having two girls, and at the time I was so little, I like literally didn't even realize what was happening. But when I turned 17, everything I would dream I would start to write down, because it'd be super real. Like I would like come out, like if I was drowning, I would literally like wake up like feeling like I was suffocating. And so I started writing them down, and everyone I've had has come real in my life. Every single one of them. I've dreamt people dying and they die. My best friend dying, I dreamt that he died. My uncle died, I dreamt that he died. I grew up with this one dude, we really weren't close friends, but I had a dream that he died. He died. Every time I dream of someone running somewhere, like away from something, that I swear the next day they'll call me saying that they're so depressed. I got cheated on. I got engaged and I got cheated on, and I dreamt that before it happened. I've dreamt weird shit. Everything I write down comes true, and there's theories that I'm writing it down and then manifesting it to come true, but I wouldn't have wrote it down if I didn't dream it. So,
would you tell me if you dream that I die?
I will, but I feel like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Because with my friend, my bestest friend that passed away, he ended up moving to Arizona, and I honestly was very angry with him at the time, and so there was a big block of time we didn't talk before, and then I had a weird dream, and then like weeks later he had died. For my uncle, it was kind of the same. I hadn't talked to him in like 10 years, and then all of a sudden I had a weird dream, and it's not that I dream exactly of how they die or when it happens, it's that I can like feel it somehow.
Yeah.
Like I can feel them leaving. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, that's so weird. My old friend, I had a dream that he died, and then, you know, he ended up going to prison, and then months after he was in prison, I found out he got stabbed. So it's like weird shit, you know, like it's like it could be a coincidence, it could not, but I feel like the theme is it's people that are not very close to me. Like I feel like I don't have the gift to like you know, if I see you every day, I'm probably not gonna be able to tell when you die. I also don't want to say I have a gift or anything. These are all just like theories I've come up with. Yeah. But I find it weird that it's all the women in my family that have this ability to do. Like it's just random.
Well, you say you're a spiritual person.
Very. And
you're acknowledging that there's something going on here unusual and above the ordinary, and you're acknowledging that there's something going on that you can't explain.
Yeah. I think because of the year I'm born and where I'm born and how I was born into this life and this society, I don't think my brain will ever fully grasp on like what reality could be. But all I know is that in my culture there was a huge belief system. Like in my tribe, they were so one with the earth. And like when I would read like old books that like my great grandma had or like my great grandma had, it was just like these crazy stories of like life and like what they believed in. And it was way more, they were more in tune with the earth. And I feel like that's a common things in a lot of different cultures before colonization, before Christianity.
Sure.
I mean, even in paganism, you have them sacrificing things for the earth in return for favor from their gods. You know what I mean? You have these things where humans need to be connected with the earth in order to understand like the universe better, and they get granted this from their gods. Like it's this belief system, and we just stopped doing that. Like we just stopped connecting with the earth. And like we like now it's taught to believe in one God and like don't really ask too many questions, you know what I mean? So it's like, well, like when did the cutoff happen? Like when did we start not being able to understand things?
Yeah.
Yeah, but dreams are a big thing. To tie it back around, I have a weird belief in dreams.
Should I go more deep into dreams, or I'm also really curious about the whole Native American thing?
Yeah.
Well, here, so let's you're fully Native American?
I am technically it's like 60%. So basically my dad's family, they are, the easiest way to say it is mestizo. They're from a tribe based in Mexico, kind of by like Nuevo Leon. Have you been down there?
I have. I haven't crossed through the border.
Okay. So it's more in Mexico.
Okay.
Basically, the origin of like figuring out tribes is a little sticky because of colonization and how much it wiped us out. But when the Spaniards came to Mexico and started colonizing and all the awful things they did, they created something called are you familiar with your U.S. history?
A bit.
Okay. They created something called the casta system, which basically was the Catholic Church or the Catholic Crown permitting interracial couples. Little different than when the British colonized America, but it basically said that Spaniards could be with Spaniards, Spaniards could be with Africans, Africans could be with Natives, Natives could be with Spaniards.
I'm totally ignorant about all this.
Yeah, so it basically was a switch. It basically permitted everything. So lots of tribes lost original bloodlines because everybody was integrating.
Yeah.
So mestizo, technically in the casta system, is pure Spaniard mixed with indigenous. That's like what it was, and they did all these different systems to determine how much you were gonna get if you were gonna be like all of them were slaves, but it was like a legal justice system for them basically, and it was really fucked up. And they used it and they carried that all the way up into California, where they took we're on you know what land we're on? We're on Kumi. I'm probably butchering it right now. Kumi Islands. We forced all the Native, or not, I can't say we, but the Native Americans here were forced to build all the missions. They took down their fucking temples to build the San Diego mission all the way up the coast. You know what I mean? Anyways, so it's a little fuzzy on like how much percentage I am, because a lot of it is mixed with Spaniard blood and a lot of it is indigenous blood. And then my mom is actually from, like, her family's from Germany. They're like pure Germans over there.
Wow.
So I have a little German, I have a little Spaniard, and I have a little indigenous culture too. So I'm kind of like a weird little colonizing puppy dog mix.
It's awesome that you know your heritage and your bloodline so well, Isla. Good for you.
Yeah, I was adopted when I was 13. So it was super, and my parents were kind of like, and my parents are baby boomers. My parents are like a little bit of an older generation. They're like 67, around there. So, you know, they lived in America and came from like a generation where, you know, it was great to be white, you know, act white, stay American, like hoorah, like, you know what I mean? You don't ask a lot of questions, you know, if you're a person of color, you know, kind of like keep your mouth shut, act as like Caucasian as you can type vibes. So my biological parents are very much baby boomers. They don't know anything about their lives because they were never taught about it, and it's like, it's shitty. So when I got adopted, it was super important for me to figure it out myself. And thankfully I was alive when my grandma was alive, so I did learn like as much as I could from her, but she passed when I was 9. So you know, there's, how much do you remember when you're from alive to 9? It's not a lot. But yeah, I just did my own research. I DNA tested myself. I did some blood tests. I went into, you know, old archives. I took lots of Chicana classes, lots of German classes. I went down to Mexico a couple times to visit, you know, the Aztec temples and, you know, really learn about like, true Mesoamericans. You know, I made it a point to like fully educate myself and like go to like where my tribe is and like learn from them, you know. But as I'm an outsider, I am, you know, I've been born in America with privilege. I didn't know anything about myself or my culture. So right now I'm just like someone of indigenous descent, but someone who needs to learn a lot more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, but everyone needs to learn a lot, like about themselves, you know. You just need to start like putting the foot forward. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Like you could be like from a king.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know unless you started looking and asking questions. So
true.
Yeah.
Do you believe in spirit animals?
I don't really know. I don't know too much about it, so I can't say too much about it, but I do know it's an indigenous belief, and I do know that people hate when people like take little quizzes online and they're like, oh, my spirit animal's a rabbit. Yeah. It's like, you don't know the context of it. You know what I mean? It'd be like it would be like if, I don't know, just a random person was like, oh, I want to like I don't know, like sacrifice a goat and like light a candle for the goddess Freya. And it's like, well, why are you doing that? And it's like, oh, I don't know, she has a cool name. And it's like, okay, let's back it up 5 steps. Let's educate ourselves, learn about it, learn why people believe in this, and then we can look into it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's like how it is with spirit animals. Like, it's not for us to dabble in.
I thought you were going to say that it was an otter. Kidding.
No.
I took a Facebook quiz. It said I was an otter.
If I could pick an animal that I think I resonate with, like as a human being, like not on like a spiritual context, it would definitely be a hedgehog.
Why?
Because I am small, but I am mighty. Just like hedgehogs. I also love water. They love to float in water. Ooh, or maybe I would be a chinchilla. I really love how cute they are.
Yeah.
But they like to do dust baths. I feel like that's like a metaphor for my life. You know, just rolling in some dust.
Cool. Chinchillas are really soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
I hope so. I want one really bad.
Have you ever had an out-of-body experience?
No, I have not, but I know a lot of people that have, and it doesn't sound fun.
I've had them. I had 2.
Was it a good time?
No.
Yeah.
No, they were both scary. I didn't like it. Did not like it. What about lucid dreaming? You know?
I don't know what to determine lucid dreaming is, because I literally feel like all my dreams are like intensely fucking real.
Well, here, so when I say lucid dreaming, what I mean is, so there's this scenario where if you're having a dream,
and you know you're dreaming.
You realize.
This happens to me frequent. Let me take this back. Happened to me once, It didn't happen to me again for a very, very long time, and then it happened to me again, and then now it stopped happening. But I don't know if this would be considered lucid dreaming. I don't know. I don't know. I have, it was a weird time. I think it was lucid. I think it's as close as you can get to lucid dreaming. I was, one time I went to sleep, right? And then I woke up because it was like super windy, like in my house. And it was like 3:36. And I thought my house was haunted at the time, so I was like, I'm just gonna go under the covers and like whatever. So I went under the covers, and like the banging of my windows got louder. And I was like, I'm just gonna fall asleep. So I fell asleep. I woke up again at 3:36. But my room was in different arrangements, and it was purple outside, and you could see like Neptune.
Yeah, so you knew something was off.
Very well. And I was like, okay. And then I was like talking to my mom, and she was like, it's time for you to join this coven. And I was like, why do I have to do that? And then the coven came, and they're like, all right, to get in, you need to eat these mushrooms, and then you'll be in. And then I ate the mushrooms, I went to this dark room, and then I woke up in my room, which was completely normal again. But I woke up at like 5 or 6, and I had to go to school, because that's when I was in high school. And I remember getting up and feeling like I was on mushrooms, but it was just a dream. So how could I feel like if I was still on mushrooms if it was a dream? You know what I mean? And my sister was getting ready for, I don't know what she was doing, but my sister was getting ready on my floor, which is very common because we shared a room. And I was like, dude, I had this weird dream last night. Like, I took mushrooms in the dream, and like now I feel like I'm actually tripping right now. And she was like, wait, what? And then I was telling her all about what I'm telling you about the times and how it was weird with the times. And she looked at me and she was like, oh shit, you're not supposed to be here right now. And then I woke up again in my bed at 3:36.
Whoa.
So that's like as close as I can get to lucid dreaming.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a trip. It still scars me to this day. I did a bunch of research on it. You couldn't find anything. I was like on Reddit forever. Like I literally couldn't find anyone that had a similar experience to me. It was a trip. But I have that all the time now, or not all the time, but if I understand like something else is going on, like if I start to put puzzle pieces together, whoever is in my dream at the moment will tell me I'm not supposed to be figuring this out right now, and then I'll actually wake up. So I think that's as close as I can get to lucid. Like, because it's not that I know I'm dreaming, but I know something's wrong, and the other person that's in my dream is like, fuck, you weren't supposed to figure it out yet.
And then you just like wake up. Yeah.
Do you lucid dream?
Not naturally.
Okay.
So there's some people who can just do it. They've been doing it their whole lives, and it just happens.
Yeah.
And, you know, so a true, real lucid dream is when you realize that you're having a dream in your dream, and then you take control
of the dream.
Yeah, you take complete control, and if you want to, you know, Superman fly away, you can just
do it.
You can just do it, or you can like stop time, or you basically become the director of the movie.
Yeah.
That is the dream.
That would be a cool gift to have.
Yeah. I had a buddy who I first found out about lucid dreaming from a friend, a musician. This was in high school, and what he told me was that he was stopping time in his dream so that he could practice his music.
I'm telling you, all art kids have a fucking sixth sense.
Yeah.
Anyone who's into art has a different ability than anybody else. I don't know what it is.
We're something else.
I think it's because we force our brains to like ignite more fuel, if that makes sense. Like we're forcing it to like work in different ways other than like sit here, learn this, regurgitate this, spit it out, move on. Like we're constantly like trying to flow with something, whatever your art form is. And I feel like that just sparks shit in our brain that's like needs to be sparked. Everyone just needs to paint, just finger paint.
We definitely need to be more childlike.
Yeah.
Like I think in general we as a culture in the West, particularly, we really should spend more time playing.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of need to revert back to that childlike sense of wonder. And that, I like to spend a lot of time in OB. And
yeah, I live in OB.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of, it's a town for creatives. And
Yeah.
it's a town for people who want to play.
No, for sure.
And that's why I'm there so often.
OB is like as light and bubbly as you can get at San Diego. I feel like I just strongly dislike San Diego. So it's really hard, but OB is probably like my one exception of San Diego. I would probably live in San Diego forever if I could live in OB forever, but like where like life is at today, it just is not like a good economic or financial decision for me to stay in Ocean Beach or even stay in California. Mm-hmm. But OB's it has like the air is different there, like for sure. It has a lighter, like you're saying, like not childish, but like
playful.
It's a lighter energy.
Yeah.
Like the energy there is not as like heavy as the rest of San Diego.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like there was San Diego's like you could feel a pressure, but in OB it's not there. Like go get an acai bowl, smoke a joint at the wall, like get a burrito, like hang out with your friends, play volleyball. Like it's definitely got that big. It's also not a big party town, you know what I mean? I feel like San Diego's turning into this huge party central. OB has like maybe a couple bars, a couple breweries, you know what I mean? But even those are kind of chillin'. Like nothing is like on the news crazy like PB and downtown are. I don't like PB.
I don't either.
Yeah, it's not the vibe.
Yeah. So let's do something that I like to do with all my guests. Let's do a check-in.
Okay.
Isla, how are you feeling right now?
I'm tired.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been working a lot, but I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Emphasis on think.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a really gnarly year this year, and I feel like I'm like, kind of like what I'm trying to get through with my book. Like, I'm trying to, put the pieces together and grow from it. So right now I'm in like the middle of like putting my Legos together and building something. And when you're in that space, it's kind of weird, Like, you don't know what your Legos are even going to build. Are you going to like it when it's over? So, I'm kind of like there right now. I'm building Legos.
Isla, you've been a really fascinating guest.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this has been a really fun episode.
Good.
And I think that the listeners are really going to enjoy it.
I hope I don't sound like I'm absolutely batshit crazy.
No, definitely not. And listen, I want to bring people on who are spiritual, because that's like-minded. I want to talk to people who also think the way I do. I also consider myself to be a spiritual person.
Yeah.
And talking about aliens and dreams and God, this is all right up my alley.
Good, I'm glad.
And look, the name of the podcast is the Podcast Perplexium.
Yeah.
Because I want to discuss topics that are perplexing in nature.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
Yeah. I do want to ask about your necklace.
My necklace?
Yeah, it's a Hamsa.
Yeah.
Right?
So, fun fact about it, actually, when the pandemic first struck the news and everyone started freaking out, my biological mother, actually gave this to me, and she was like, and she's not a very spiritual person. She's actually a really big hardcore Catholic. Weird enough, but she's like, I found this, I thought of you, I feel like you should have this forever. And I was like, okay. And I put it on, and I'm not kidding you, every time I take it off, I have a complete and utter shit day. So I just don't take it off anymore.
Oh, so wow, it's like a lucky.
It's like, yeah.
Cool.
It's my lucky charm. I literally have never taken it off, and how long has it now been? 2 years? Almost 3 years?
Wow.
Since like everything happened?
Has anyone asked you because of wearing it? Has anyone asked you if you're like Middle Eastern or anything like that?
No, but I think it's because I heavily put it forth that I am not very educated in the necklace I'm wearing, and even though I need to put that step forward and educate myself on it, I'm not going to take it off because I'm afraid of what's going to happen to my life if I don't have it on. So,
well, hey, it's okay to wear things just because you like it.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
I do that all the time.
I mean, I know what it's called. I know the evil eye, protects you from bad juju. But, learning more about its origin story will make me... I need to do that. I'm going to put it on my to-do list for sure.
Okay. If you want.
No, I need to.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up. We've been talking for almost an hour. We went more than I thought we would. And any last things that you might want to talk about? I know that we talked about your book coming out a little bit. Do you want to say anything more about that, or?
I don't really have too much on it yet. I post all of my artwork and all my book updates on Instagram at The Art of Isla. Isla. Everyone spells it different. Yeah, I do custom pieces. So if you want to write a poem for yourself or for a loved one, you can DM me. I do custom pieces with crystals. So if you want kind of a more spiritual poem, even a manifesto poem, I want to read this poem to myself every day, I can do that with a crystal. I still have all online copies of my first book I came out with last year, still available, only $10 right now. So you can DM me there and get one. Yeah, but my new book will be out November, December, and I probably will do a book launching party at Tap Shack in East Village, where you can buy all the hard copies of it.
Awesome. Well, Isla, I'm super happy that you are over at Tap Shack, and I get to see you when I go in there.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's always nice to see you when I go in, and
I try.
Yeah, and we did not really know each other that well.
Not at all.
Before we came in, I've known Isla just for a couple months. But again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and yeah, this was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Cool.
Your hands are so much bigger than mine.